Hi, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to tell you, how do you discover your highest values and those of your kids? We just covered in the last couple of weeks what are highest values and why do we want to know them. Listen up, both consciously and unconsciously, and grab a pen and paper because you'll probably want to take a few notes in a minute. I'm going to give you 5 questions to unlock you and your kids' highest values. But first, I'm going to give you a few instructions on how to use the questions I'll give you. I want you to encourage your kids using these questions to talk about their dreams and their desires and what's important to them. Encourage them to begin to visualize what they'd love to be, do, and have in life. And you can make it a game if you like, even. Just make it informal so they'll really start to open up to you. And one thing not to do is it's important for adults not to interject our values, but rather let your kids think and dream about what they want so they can really be honest with you. And if they're not giving you very consistent answers, as kids sometimes will do, then just simply notice their actions. Okay, ready? All right, question number 1 is, what do you like to talk about? Wow, what a concept, right? People usually like to talk about things that are important to them, their highest values. Well, for kids, let them try to understand and answer the question if they can, and they'll gradually be able to do it. Help your kids make the connection that many of the things they like to talk about may be the same things that are most important to them or their highest values. And of course, notice this for yourself too. Question 2, what do you like to think about and visualize? For adults, simply ask yourself, do you have an innermost dominant thought? What do you keep talking to yourself about the most? What do you visualize for your life? And ask yourself, what is slowly but surely coming true for you? What are you making real progress on in your life? And for kids, simply ask them, what do you like to think about? And see what they say. They'll probably laugh and say something like, I don't know what I think about. Just use these questions, as I said, as little ticklers to help them get started being aware of their thoughts and what's important to them. The third question is, what do you like to spend your money on? Notice we find money for things that are important to us, right? And likewise, we usually find it hard to part with money for things that have a low priority. Isn't that true? Point out to your kids that even though they don't have the same responsibilities around money as adults, they are very aware that their allowance, for example, is limited. Begin to recognize that the things we spend our money on is often a huge indicator of our highest values for both kids and adults. Question number 4, what do you like to spend your time on? Please notice we all make time for things that are most important to us, and we seem to run out of time for things that do not have a high priority. And it's much the same for kids. So in a fun way, just point out to your kids that they are usually very straightforward about how they prefer to spend their time, right? For example, do they spend hours building Legos? And then perhaps have a conversation about that. And maybe ask them, if they're old enough, does that indicate any important values to them? And using Legos as an example, you could ask them, do they know what being an architect is? Or maybe ask, what appeals to them simply the artistry that they're creating? So maybe your child is an artist and they're just using Legos as a way to create their artistry. We don't know until we have that conversation, right? And question number 5, what do you like to fill your space with? For kids, just notice what books and toys do they have in their room in plain sight, and what do they have on their walls? For adults, it's much the same. Take a quick inventory and notice. We usually love keeping the things we love the most out where we can see and touch them, do we not? Okay, these are the first 5 questions for discovering highest values. You may also refer to John DeMartini's website, drdemartini.com. That's drdemartini.com, where you can find his original instructions for discovering highest values complimentary. I hope you'll practice using these 5 questions and tune in next week to get the second set of 5 questions to discovering your kids' highest values and yours. Remember, no two sets of highest values are the same. Everyone's is different. And it's important to know yours. Please hit the subscribe button here, and thank you for subscribing. See you next week. Bye for now.